Hi, this is Tark and me. We're back in Scotland, having had a super trip in Tanzania. Want to thank quickly Mike and Dennis for designing me such a super stick, which helped me get up the top of Mount Meru, and which has been really useful also for some of the walks I'm doing here in Scotland. So that's going to come in really handy, and thanks for doing that. And in the process of getting the stick, we've also arranged for some tree planting in and around Kilimanjaro, which is quite nice as well. But really this short piece is really just to finish up on the Hadza trip. As you'd see before, when we did the walk to see the tribe, we did go into their camp, and we did find some what seemed a bit unusual elements, some battery cases and batteries which we weren't quite sure what they were being used for. Unfortunately, we weren't able to take any more video because I ran out of video slots. Unfortunately, I couldn't take any video of us going foraging with the women and actually what we were able to collect. Some wonderful tubers and very interesting, and we were unable to get more footage of some of the hunting that we did, but that's for another visit. One of the things that when we met in the women's group that they wanted was they wanted to take away some of our plastic bottles. We shared our drinks with them, and orange juice and water and so on, and they wanted the old bottles. So we said, yeah, fine, you can have the old bottles, provided you allow us to take away some of the old plastic that they got. Basically, there's quite a lot of plastic in the camp. It's only small pieces of cups and bits of strips of plastic and so on, some of which they make use of, but otherwise they don't all use them. I'll just get Tarka to move a bit. Tarka, go on, what's that over there? Go on, over there, what's that? Find it. Go on, that's it. Good dog. So, yes, you do find that they do have bits of plastic left over, which they just leave normally when they're making bows, arrows, any other products which they make obviously out of local produce and sinews, bits of animal hide and pieces of wood and so on. They can just strip them and just throw them aside, and they'll decay or be taken away by other organisms, and they'll rot and disappear. But plastic obviously doesn't. It's not something they're used to dealing with, and so we took away their plastic, or we collected it all in a big bag. And because there's no recycling in Tanzania, what we basically did is we put it together in a bag. We set up a fire, one of their fires, that we got it hot. We explained that we were going to burn this plastic, that it's poisonous, that it's toxic, that's the reason why plants and animals don't eat it, and that we burnt it very hot so that all the plastic was burnt away completely. It's important. We highlighted the fact that they shouldn't cook on it, and we showed them that you could see the black fumes coming off. So as we burnt the plastic, it was burnt away, went up into the atmosphere, and we highlighted that this plastic is from our world, our Western world, not from their world, and therefore it shouldn't intrude on their lives. And I think they understood that message really well, and it was a good way of communicating. So we were able to do that. We burnt the plastic hot, and we completely burnt it away, and that was fine. And that's because they say there's no recycling or facilities in Tanzania for that. When we did give them some products, we didn't give them money, partly because I don't think the Hadza really need money, and if they do get money, they might spend it on things that are not so necessary for their lifestyle. But we did give them honey. This isn't cheap honey, this Kilimanjaro honey, so we did spend a reasonable amount of money on them, but it was a gift, and they can't get honey this time of year. So we bought 2 jars of honey, one which we shared with the men's group when we went hunting, and the other jar we shared with the women's group when we went foraging. Both groups stay sort of separate, and although they do communal sharing, it's a bit more ad hoc and it isn't always complete. It was interesting that, having been hunting with the men, we thought the honey would be shared with the whole group, but it wasn't. I think they enjoyed the honey so much that they didn't share it so much, and so therefore that's what the women told us the next day. They didn't get any of the honey, and that meant some of the little children didn't get any honey. So it's kind of a nice way of being able to do that. But we took away the glass jars that the honey came in, so we gave it to them in a bowl. We poured it into. They asked them for something that we could put the honey in. They gave us a bowl, and then they ate it and shared it amongst themselves. And obviously, if they get the honey later on in the year when the wet season comes, which it wasn't at that time, when there's more, obviously the bees are able to collect more pollen and so on. So that was a nice gift for them. They liked it, and we were able to share some vegetables as well. And so it was a nice interaction. So that was good. What we found when we were with the men, and when we were cleaning up the rubbish, is we started finding more and more of these battery cases. I've got something between 15 and 20 battery cases. So they'd been prizing open the batteries for some reason. We found a couple with the batteries inside, but mostly the batteries had disappeared. And we did ask them through our guide Isa what was going on with that, and he said, or they explained, that what they did is they opened the battery case up and they chewed what was inside. Now, whether that meant they chewed the whole battery, whether they chewed some of the casing, whether they drank some of the liquid, I don't know. We did that take a bit more looking at. But certainly, obviously, these batteries we all know, or most people know, are quite dangerous. They contain lead, mercury, cadmium. Now, these products are implicated in causing birth defects. They affect your liver. They're a toxin. They're very toxic, and therefore the tribe using these in any way, eating them or having them in their diet in any manner, is going to find really adverse health effects. How long it had been going on, it's not so easy to see. All these battery cases are relatively new, so possibly it's not a historical practice, but still something we told them just how poisonous it was, and that this could be a reason why the tribe isn't growing and that they're having problems with childbirth and young children in the camp. So I think they took that message seriously as well, and Isa, our guide, will keep in touch with the group so that it's not something that becomes a practice, and that he'll hopefully encourage them not to do that. It's a real indication that, or this sort of product is a real indication of just how our world in the West can affect tribes, different cultures living completely different lifestyles in other countries, and really sets the obligation on us to ensure that we don't intrude on these cultures. There's so much that we can learn from their lifestyle, the Hadza lifestyle. In our world, we consider them effectively worthless because simply they don't deal with money and they don't own the land in the way that we in the West would expect. But that's totally to misunderstand what the value of those cultures are, and what an important role they have to play in our future as climate change affects us all, and that we have to change our lifestyles to be a much lower carbon, much less polluting, much more sustainable lifestyle. There's a lot to learn from these tribes, and therefore intruding on them with these sorts of products and encouraging them to get involved in a more Western lifestyle is totally destructive. And to the credit of the Hadza, generally they don't want much to do with our Western world. It was interesting because having met the tribe, having met the group of people, we did ask them, was there anything they wanted to learn about our lifestyle, and they basically said no, not really anything, which is very interesting actually. It's very interesting to think that despite all the gadgets and things we've got, it's not so, our life is not so attractive.